Hello everyone and welcome to another Music of the Month review, and I know I don't sound so nasally and weird anymore. Yeah, I was just had a cold and all that, but I'm better now. And for those asking for backtracking, which is absolutely none of you, the brief history video will be tomorrow, the actual episode will be the day after that, and then obviously it'll continue to snowball from there. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about the music of the month of January 2020. So we're just going to kick it off with, as always, it's alphabetical order in terms of the bands. First is a band called Algiers with the album called There Is No You, which is a reference to a novel of the same name. This is my first Algiers album. I describe them personally as what the Heavy would sound like if they were just a bit more chilled and just a bit more laid back, and which is sort of impossible because the Heavy already give off that vibe. But yeah, all in all, Algiers do capture that, and they have a more serious tone to them, and I thought it worked here. This album really worked well for me. I wish I could remember more of it, but what I got, I really do remember liking, and I'm going to give it a straight up B+. I like this album. I think it's a good gateway for me to get into that sort of style. So, yeah, I look forward to listening to more by them soon. Next is AntiFlag with their album 2020 Vision. And once again, I'm a big AntiFlag fan. I like, they're just this no fucks given punk rock, political punk rock thing. Same vibe, obviously, given off here on the new album, which has, a cover of, which has like a picture of a black and white grayed out sort of Donald Trump on it, because, Anti-Flag are extremely left wing, in case that wasn't obvious. And I give this one an A. I really thought this was proper good, not just because it's anti-Trump. I mean, that was a selling point, but, yeah, I just thought this was a really solid, consistent album full of really great songs. More of a lighter tone from Anti-Flag as well, not in terms of like, hey, let's all be happy. It's like, let's not be so miserable. Let's try and like, support each other. That sort of vibe. And you don't really get that much these days, which I think is why I like this, why I liked it as much as I did. So yeah, that gets an A. Next is Beach Slang with their album The Deadbeat Bang of Heartbreak City. My first Beach Slang album, and I don't know, like, the band sounded really good. I thought some of the music was really good, but all in all, I can only give this album a C+. There were just some bits of it that didn't really fully sit with me. I feel like I should have listened to their old stuff, but, this is that style of really popular indie rock that I've never been a particularly massive fan of. But the band did try, at least, and I can't really fault them for wanting to try. And, yeah, I thought it's not something I'd listen to again immediately, and I feel like they have better stuff in their back pocket, because this is their third album, I believe, third or fourth. I could be wrong about that, but yeah. I did expect a wee bit more from this one, and I was only slightly let down, not massively let down. We'll get to that a bit later. Next is Bleed the Sky with This Way Lies Madness. This one was also sort of okay. Wasn't a super massive fan of it. It gets a B-, which is higher than the Beach Like album. This is Bleed the Sky's first album in a long time, I think. I think it's these guys. It could be a different band a bit down the line. I thought it was alright. I thought this album was okay, but nothing super special. It felt a bit too much like other things I'd heard in the previous few years of metal. Well, the previous few years, previous 8, I've been more of a metal fan for like a longer time than that. So yeah, I thought this was, yeah, a bit generic in places, but it did have a spark to it. I can't really say that about the next album though, Defiled with Infinite Regress. Normally you hear the phrase Japanese death metal and you think, oh, this is going to be good. I was expecting that from this. I was extremely disappointed that it gets a C-. I didn't like this album. It was a bit too generic. It had way too many songs which were all way too short. It didn't really feel like it wanted to stay around. It didn't really impress me. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I mean, once again, it had its moments. Otherwise, it would get a much lower grade, but I don't know. I just felt a bit bored by the end of it. Next album, though, much more positive feeling. Dragged Under, with their debut album, The World Is In Your Way. I first heard about these guys because of a YouTuber named Jared Dines. Sorry, my hair's always a mess. He booked his first show recently, like late last year, as I'm sorting out my hair still. And Dragged Under were on that show, and they played the song Here for War, and I listened to it thinking, oh, then I looked them up, like, oh, they have an album soon, okay. And Hiv was going to be on the album. I was like, okay, I wonder if there's going to be better songs. And there is. Here for War is still great, but there's so many great songs, and this album gets an A+. It's only got 9 songs on it, but Dragged Under feels like what Beartooth should be doing a bit more of these days. And I like Beartooth, don't get me wrong, I do like Beartooth. But Dragged Under are like this sort of upper echelon level, even though this is only their debut. I really enjoy this. I definitely recommend you seek this one out, as well as the AntiFlag album, obviously. Next album, also quite positive. One of the last albums I listened to. Dune Rat with Hurry Up and Wait. Australian punk rock. This is their 3rd album. It gets an A from me. I really fucking love this. I was a bit doubtful going into it too, because I looked it up, and there was only there's about 12 songs, which is average, but it was only 28 minutes, and if you don't count the intro track, that's just over 27 minutes slightly. But they maximise every moment of this. I really, really, really enjoyed this. It was so fun. It was silly. In 2019, we had a lot of serious pop punk, which I'm not going to complain about, but we needed some fun stuff to balance it out. I'm glad that we got a fun album in Hurry Up and Wait. Not going to complain about this. Really enjoyed it. Once again, seek it out. Next is probably the one I'm probably going to get in trouble if I don't talk about. Eminem's Music to be Murdered By. Once again, an album he just dropped completely out of nowhere. No pomp, no build-up. I just sort of discovered it was happening when he released the song Darkness. I was like, oh, this is a serious song about, all those killings that happen in America every day. I was thinking, oh, maybe the rest of the album will be a bit more serious, because I like Eminem when he's a bit more serious. And it wasn't, really. It was just sort of all over the place. It was your typical Eminem fare. I feel like it's slightly better than Kamikaze. I don't know. It gets a B-. I just want Eminem to stop wasting time. I want him to... I know it's a bit, regressive of me to want more of, the Marshall Mathers LP stuff, but it's equally regressive of Eminem to continue, squeezing in as many offensive jokes and misogynistic lyrics as he can into all of his songs. It feels like nothing's changed, but, at least he gave it a bit more of a try this time, so, there's that. Next, we move on to In Me with their album Jumpstart Hope, and to contrast Eminem, who sort of put out Music to be Murdered By with no pomp, In Me had been building Jumpstart Hope for a while, and it worked. It paid off for me. I really enjoyed this one. It gets a B+. I feel like the album could have been longer. I did want more of it, but honestly, I'm just glad that these guys are back in any capacity. I really like them. I don't listen to them as much as I should, but when they do put out new music, I'm always happy. So, yeah, I super enjoyed this one. So, good shit, good stuff. Once again, worth seeking out, I think. Next is Lordi with Killection. Now, for those who know Lordi, they're that band who played Hard Rock Hallelujah on Eurovision all that time ago. And if you're expecting any of the songs on this album to sound like those, don't. They tried to create, I guess, recreate a sort of throwback sound to the 80s and early 90s metal sounds, and 70s as well, obviously. And considering that the band is shock rock, that should have worked, but it just didn't. It felt a bit offset for me. The album felt a bit dragged out. It gets a C- from me. I don't know. I feel like there were parts of it that the band could have improved on, and they put out music fairly regularly as well. They don't waste a lot of time. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. For my first Lordi album, I wasn't really feeling it. Next, though, fuck yes to this one. Sleep Wraith with Day Terrors. Straight off the bat, A+. Really, I was going into this expecting, oh, okay, these are a new sort of metal act. They've never released anything before. This album is probably gonna, it's got a lot of long songs in it. It's not gonna be entertaining. Fuck, was I wrong? Holy shit. This one damn near broke my heart with how good it was. Really great concepts to it. I loved all the, messages behind it. I connected to it on a level that I couldn't really fully grasp. Listen to this album, honestly. This is an early one for, album of the year, as far as I'm concerned. This was really fucking good. Definitely go seek out Day Terrors by Sleep Wraith. Fantastic stuff, absolutely fantastic. Next is, no, that's fantastic, but I still liked it. Slotface, with Sorry for the Late Reply. Slutface used to be called Slutface. I'm not making that up. And this is my first album by them. I think it's their third overall. It's funny how that's a theme. And and this gets a B from me. It was your fairly standard, like, punk indie sort of affair. Female led as well, so, you know, good stuff. I don't know, like, the ending of the album sort of derailed a bit for me, because one of the last songs is called, like, an intro, and one of the other last songs of the three is a reprise of an older one. It feels like those were just unnecessarily, like, glued on at the end. I didn't really feel the need to listen to those. I was like, yeah, so we don't need those. But, yeah, what we did get, I'm not going to complain too badly about. So, yeah, it just gets a B. Speaking of Bs, next is Temperance with Viridian. Another female-led thing. Italian symphonic power metal. Fucking, you know, sort of that feel from it. Once again, with Sorry for the Late Reply, it has, like, a really, really good, like, build all the way to the end. And the last song on this is a Christmas song. A month after Christmas, by the way. That was just really fucking weird to me. I didn't hate it though. Once again, it also gets a B. But like that last song was just weird. Why was that there? Especially considering that the rest of the album felt like it had this sort of like cool concept behind it. And then you just have, oh, here's a Christmas song, by the way. Why? And it wasn't like a bonus track or anything. It was on the actual album itself. That was a choice that the band made. Just a bit weird. I mean, a fun Christmas song, but an unnecessary Christmas song. Yeah, just a bit weird. And finally, the last album to cover for the month of January, Victims of Circumstance with 5. You know, as I'm presuming it's their 5th album, because every band gets sort of lazy when they do that. Like, oh, it's their 5th album, we'll just call it 5, you know. It's happened before, it'll continue to happen again. This was sort of a mixed bag ska punk album. It gets a B- from me, personally. Like, a lot of the lyrics felt a bit generic for the genre. So did some of the musical stuff, but, at the end of the day, it was catchy and fun, which is all you can really get out of ska punk. So it does what it's supposed to do, and I'm not going to really complain about that. But, it's a really good genre album. It fills the gap of ska punk. It just, I don't know. B-, but, a fairly beefy B-. A beefy minus. I don't know, that's terrible. But yeah, it's still a B-. I liked it, just not as much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. So, yeah, that'll about do it for those. Good. Hopefully there's some good shit in February. We're going to find out. Anyway, that'll about do it for this. I'll hopefully see you in the next couple of days for more backtracking. And I'm going to work on a PBW card for next week, the first card of year 2. I'm going to stick to 2K19. Because, screw it, why not? And I'll see you all for tomorrow, hopefully. As always, sorry for my hair. Thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye-bye.